The containment. The message arrived simultaneously on every screen on Earth at 3:17 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. For 7 seconds, all digital displays, phones, computers, televisions, billboards, flickered and went black before displaying the same text in every language. By unanimous decree of the Galactic Federation Council, the planetary system designated Sol 3, and all indigenous life forms therein are hereby placed under Level 4 containment protocol. Any attempt to breach the established boundary will result in immediate neutralization. This measure is non-negotiable and will remain in effect until Sol 3 inhabitants demonstrate sufficient evolutionary advancement to warrant reconsideration. End transmission. Commander Eliza Rice stood in the Pentagon's Crisis Command Center as analysts frantically attempted to trace the source of the transmission. After 20 years in military intelligence, she had prepared for countless threats: nuclear war, bioterrorism, cyber attacks. But nothing like this. Satellite feed is coming in now, announced Dr. Marcus Chen, the NSA's head of quantum communications. The wall display shifted to show a real-time view of Earth from orbit, but something was different. A faint bluish shimmer encircled the planet like a translucent soap bubble, extending well beyond the Moon's orbit. That wasn't there an hour ago, Rice said quietly. What are we looking at, Dr. Chen? Some kind of energy field. It's permeable to light and certain electromagnetic wavelengths. But, he paused, checking incoming data. Our test signals aren't penetrating beyond the lunar orbit. We're cut off. The Joint Chiefs entered the room, followed by the Secretary of Defense and a woman Rice didn't recognize, tall, with close-cropped silver hair and an intense gaze. Commander Rice. The Secretary nodded. Meet Dr. Amara Okafor, Director of SETI's Advanced Projects Division. She may have some context for our situation. Dr. Okafor wasted no time. For the past 18 months, we've been detecting anomalous signals from the Kuiper Belt. We believed they were natural phenomena until 3 weeks ago, when we isolated patterns consistent with artificial origin. You knew about alien contact for 3 weeks and didn't inform defense agencies, General Porter demanded. We informed the necessary channels, Dr. Okafor replied coolly. But we weren't certain. Now we are. What is a Level 4 containment protocol? Rice asked. Dr. Okafor's expression darkened. We have no idea, but the containment field appears to be a perfect sphere with a radius of approximately 1.2 million kilometers. Everything within that boundary, Earth, the Moon, our satellites, and space stations, is effectively isolated from the rest of the universe. Dr. Maya Sandoval adjusted the sensitivity on the spectral analyzer as her research vessel, the Galileo, approached the boundary. As one of NASA's leading astrophysicists, she had been dispatched to physically investigate the barrier that had appeared around Earth 72 hours earlier. Approaching 1,000 kilometers from the projected boundary, her pilot, Captain Luis Rodriguez, announced. Maya nodded, her attention fixed on the readings. The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. It's not blocking matter. It's redirecting it. Like a cosmic traffic circle. What does that mean for us? Rodriguez asked. It means we could probably fly right into it, and we'd somehow end up back where we started. An elegant solution to quarantine. No destruction necessary. The Galileo's communication system crackled. Dr. Sandoval, this is Houston. We're detecting another vessel approaching your position. It's not one of ours. Maya rushed to the viewport. At first, she saw nothing but the star field and the faint shimmer of the barrier. Then a distortion, like heat waves over asphalt, resolved into a sleek craft about twice the size of the Galileo. Its surface was midnight black, with iridescent patterns that seemed to flow like oil on water. Houston, we have visual confirmation of an unidentified vessel, Rodriguez reported, his voice admirably steady. Appears to be of non-terrestrial origin, approximately 200 meters from our position and holding. Maya's instruments went wild. They're scanning us. A new voice filled the cabin. Melodic, slightly synthesized, speaking perfect English. Research vessel Galileo, we mean no harm. We are representatives of the Corvus Collective, a dissenting voice within the Galactic Federation. We wish to establish dialogue. Maya and Rodriguez exchanged glances. This wasn't in any first contact protocol. This is Dr. Maya Sandoval of Earth. We're listening. The quarantine imposed upon your world is unjust. The Federation fears what they do not understand, and humanity represents an anomaly in their careful categorization of sentient species. We wish to meet in person to discuss possibilities. How do we know this isn't a trap? Rodriguez whispered. Maya considered this. If they wanted to harm us, why bother talking? She activated the comm. We're open to a meeting. What do you propose? Commander Rice led a small team through the dense Amazon rainforest, following coordinates provided by Dr. Sandoval after her encounter at the barrier. The heat and humidity were oppressive, but Rice barely noticed, her mind racing with possibilities and threats. Signal's getting stronger, said Specialist Jackson, checking his handheld tracker. Whatever it is, it's putting out some serious energy for something so small. They emerged into a small clearing where a perfect circle of vegetation had been flattened. In the center sat what appeared to be a metallic sphere about 2 meters in diameter, hovering half a meter above the ground. Hold position, Rice ordered, raising her hand. Dr. Okafor. The SETI director stepped forward cautiously, scanning the object. It's some kind of automated probe. Been here for weeks, according to soil compression patterns. The sphere suddenly shifted, its surface rippling like liquid mercury, before splitting along an invisible seam. Rice and her team raised their weapons, but Dr. Okafor held up her hand. Wait, she said. It's not aggressive. From the opening emerged a holographic projection, a humanoid figure with elongated limbs, a slender torso, and a head that seemed too large for its body. Its skin was pale blue with patterns similar to the iridescence on the alien ship Maya had encountered. I am Emissary Thale of the Corvus Collective, the figure announced. This automated interface allows me to communicate from a safe distance. Safe for whom? Rice asked. The alien's expression shifted in what might have been amusement. For both of us, Commander Rice. My physical form would find your atmosphere corrosive, and you might find my natural biochemistry unsettling. You know who I am. We have been monitoring your civilization for some time. Your response to the quarantine is of particular interest to the collective. Dr. Okafor stepped forward. Why has Earth been quarantined? Officially, because humanity represents an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. Your technological development is proceeding at an unprecedented rate, while your biological evolution lags behind. This creates what the Federation terms a dangerous imbalance. And unofficially, Rice pressed. Thale's hologram flickered slightly. Unofficially, humanity possesses something the Federation Council fears, a unique combination of genetic adaptability and cognitive potential that defies their predictive models. What does that mean in practical terms? Asked Dr. Okafor. It means that while most species' evolutionary paths can be mathematically predicted over millennia, yours cannot. You are, in essence, a wild card in the carefully balanced galactic ecosystem. Rice exchanged glances with Dr. Okafor. So they've trapped us here because they can't predict what will become. Precisely. The Federation operates on principles of order and control. Unpredictability is considered a threat. But the Corvus Collective believes differently. We see humanity's potential as valuable, worth nurturing rather than containing. Why would you help us? Rice asked, suspicion evident in her tone. Because the collective was once in a similar position. Our biological adaptation capabilities drew Federation concern centuries ago. We were forced to compromise our development to gain acceptance. We do not wish to see your species face the same limitations. Thale's hologram raised a hand, and a complex three-dimensional model appeared beside him. This is a simplified representation of human DNA compared to other sentient species in the galaxy. The model showed a double helix surrounded by pulsing nodes of light, alongside 5 other similar but distinctly different structures. Most species have between 8 and 12% junk DNA, genetic material with no apparent function. Humans have over 98%. The Federation believes this is evidence of your incomplete evolution. But you disagree, Dr. Okafor said, studying the model intently. The collective's research suggests this genetic material is not junk at all, but rather potential, like blank pages waiting to be written upon. Your species can adapt to new environments and stressors at rates that would require deliberate genetic engineering in other species. So we're genetic wildcards, Rice concluded. More than that, Commander. You are potentially the most adaptable species yet encountered. Combined with your cognitive capabilities and your drive to explore, the Federation sees a species that could rapidly evolve in unpredictable ways once exposed to diverse planetary conditions and cosmic radiation. Dr. Okafor touched the holographic DNA model, watching it rotate. They're afraid we'll become something they can't control or understand, Thale added. Fear of the unknown drives much of galactic politics, despite our advanced state. Reyes crossed her arms. So what exactly is the Corvus Collective proposing? Alliance, Thale said simply. We believe humanity deserves the opportunity to realize its potential. The quarantine is based on fear, not justice. With our knowledge and your adaptability, we could force the Federation to reconsider. At what cost? Rise asked. Mutual benefit. We gain an ally with tremendous potential. You gain advanced technology and a voice in galactic affairs. The hologram gestured, and a small compartment opened in the sphere. This contains data on the containment field's structural weaknesses and Federation protocols. Consider it a gesture of good faith. As Thale's hologram began to fade, the alien added, You have 72 hours before the Federation sends representatives to establish permanent monitoring stations on your planet. Consider our offer carefully, Commander Reyes. The next millennium of human development hangs in the balance. The hologram vanished, leaving the team standing in the clearing with more questions than answers, and a decision that would shape humanity's future among the stars. The breakthrough. They're lying, General Porter insisted, pounding his fist on the conference table. This Corvus Collective is playing us against the Federation for their own agenda. 48 hours had passed since the encounter in the Amazon. World leaders had been briefed, and a small international task force assembled to determine Earth's response to both the quarantine and the Collective's offer. Commander Rice studied the holographic display, showing the alien data they'd received. Possibly. But their information about the containment field matches everything our scientists have observed, and they could have attacked us at any point. Dr. Okafor nodded. The genetic analysis they provided explains several evolutionary anomalies we've never been able to account for. There's truth in what they're telling us, even if it's not the whole truth. President Santos, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke. Dr. Sandoval, you've had the most direct contact with these beings. What's your assessment? Maya Sandoval had been brought back from the Galileo mission to join the crisis team. The Corvus representatives I spoke with demonstrated consistent behavior. They had multiple opportunities to act against us, but didn't. They seemed genuinely concerned about the quarantine's impact on our development. But can we trust them enough to form an alliance against a vastly more powerful organization we know nothing about? Santos pressed. I don't think we have much choice, Rice said. In 24 hours, Federation officials will arrive to establish permanent monitoring. Once that happens, any chance of negotiating from a position of strength evaporates. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. What about the containment field analysis? Santos asked. Do we have options there? Dr. Chen stepped forward. According to the Corvus data, the field has periodic fluctuations, microsecond windows where its redirection properties briefly weaken. With precise timing, a specially shielded craft might squeeze through. To what end? Porter demanded. One ship escapes. And then what? We demonstrate that humanity won't be caged, Rise replied. We show both the Federation and the Collective what we're capable of. Santos nodded slowly. Prepare a plan. But we need insurance, a way to protect Earth if this goes sideways. There might be something, Dr. Okafor said hesitantly. The Corvus data mentioned Federation protocols for first contact scenarios. If we can prove we meet certain criteria, they're bound by their own laws to reconsider our status. What criteria? Santos asked. Dr. Okafor pulled up a new display. It's complicated, but essentially it comes down to demonstrating harmonic potential, the ability to contribute to galactic stability rather than disrupt it. And how exactly do we demonstrate that? Porter asked skeptically. By doing something uniquely human, Dr. Sandoval interjected, a spark of inspiration in her eyes, something that showcases our adaptability, ingenuity, and cooperative potential simultaneously. The plan came together in 18 frenetic hours. The prototype vessel, christened Prometheus, had been a classified project, a next-generation spacecraft incorporating experimental propulsion systems. Now, with modifications based on the Corvus data, it represented humanity's best hope for breaching the containment field. Commander Rise would lead the mission, accompanied by Dr. Sandoval and a small crew of specialists. Their objective: breach the barrier at a calculated weak point, make contact with Corvus representatives waiting beyond, and return with proof of humanity's worth to present to the arriving Federation delegation. As the Prometheus prepared for launch from a remote Pacific facility, another team led by Dr. Okafor and Dr. Chen worked to implement the second phase of the plan, what President Santos had called their insurance policy. Launch sequence initiated, announced Major Kim, the Prometheus's pilot. All systems nominal. Reyes felt the vibration as the experimental engines engage. On a normal day, this maiden voyage would have made headlines worldwide. Today, it was happening in complete secrecy, shielded from both public knowledge and, hopefully, Federation detection. Approaching stratospheric boundary, Kim reported. Stealth systems engage. The Prometheus climbed rapidly, its revolutionary propulsion system pushing it to speeds no human craft had achieved before. Within minutes, they had left Earth's atmosphere behind. Barrier approximately 30,000 kilometers ahead, Dr. Sandoval announced, monitoring the advanced sensors. I'm detecting the fluctuation patterns exactly as predicted. Reyes nodded. Major Kim, synchronize approach with the calculated window. Synchronizing. We'll have less than 2 seconds to make the transition. The barrier became visible through the viewport, a subtle distortion in the starfield, like looking through flowing water. Reyes felt her pulse quicken. Everything hinged on their calculations being correct. Window opens in 3, 2, 1. Now. The Prometheus surged forward. For a moment, the viewports filled with a prismatic cascade of light as they hit the barrier. The ship shuddered violently. Hull integrity at 62%, reported Lieutenant Walsh from engineering. Structural stress exceeding design parameters. Hold course. Rise ordered, gripping her command chair as alarms blared throughout the ship. Then, suddenly, everything went quiet. The view screen cleared. Status. Rise demanded. Dr. Sandoval checked her instruments, then looked up with a mix of awe and triumph. We're through. We're beyond the containment field. Before they could celebrate, their communication system activated automatically. Prometheus craft, this is Corvus vessel Starchild, came a now familiar melodic voice. Congratulations on your breakthrough. We've been expecting you. A massive ship shimmered into visibility ahead, the same black iridescent design they had encountered before, but much larger. Corvus vessel, this is Commander Reyes. We've come to negotiate. There's been a development, Commander, the Corvus representative replied. Federation enforcers detected your barrier breach. They're en route to your position and to Earth. We must act quickly. Reyes felt her stomach tighten. What kind of response are we talking about? Nothing hostile yet, but they'll attempt to force your return and may strengthen the containment field. We should proceed to the rendezvous point immediately. The Prometheus followed the Corvus ship deeper into space, accelerating to velocities that should have been impossible for Earth technology. Within hours, they approached what appeared to be a massive space station, a gleaming structure of interconnected rings orbiting an artificial star. The Nexus, the Corvus representative explained. Neutral territory where Federation matters are arbitrated. Your timing is fortunate. The Council is in session. Back on Earth, the Federation delegation had arrived. 3 elongated spacecraft that took up position in orbit, ignoring all attempts at communication. Dr. Okafor watched from mission control as smaller craft descended toward predetermined locations around the planet. They're deploying their monitoring stations. Are we ready? President Santos asked, tension evident in her voice. Dr. Chen nodded. The network is prepared. We can activate on your command. Santos took a deep breath. Let's show them what humanity can do. Dr. Chen initiated the sequence. Across Earth, thousands of specially modified communication arrays simultaneously activated, creating a planetary-scale quantum network that the Corvus data had suggested would be recognizable to any advanced civilization. Signal broadcasting, Dr. Chen confirmed. If the Federation is watching, they'll see it. On the Nexus, Commander Reyes and Dr. Sandoval stood before a semicircular council of diverse alien beings, some humanoid, others defying easy description. The Federation representatives, tall, crystalline entities with multiple limbs, regarded the humans with what seemed like suspicion. This breach of containment protocol is unprecedented, stated one of the crystalline beings, its voice resonating directly in Reyes' mind. The humans have proven our concerns valid by immediately attempting to circumvent established boundaries. Thale, now physically present as a slender blue-skinned being, stepped forward. They've proven their ingenuity and determination, qualities the Federation claims to value. Qualities that become dangerous when combined with unpredictable evolutionary paths, countered the Federation representative. Ray stepped forward. We understand your concerns about our unpredictability, but that same quality has allowed us to survive and thrive on a planet that has undergone multiple extinction events. Adaptability isn't a threat, it's a strength. The Council murmured among themselves, communication happening on levels the humans couldn't perceive. Suddenly, a new holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, a representation of Earth, surrounded by a complex energy pattern. What is this? Demanded the Federation representative. Dr. Sandoval recognized it immediately. It's our quantum network, the one we just activated. Another council member, a being composed of what looked like swirling gas, spoke. This is a rudimentary but functioning harmonic resonator. The humans have created a planetary consciousness integration network. Impossible, the crystalline being stated. Their technology is centuries from such capability. And yet the evidence is before us, Thel said calmly. They've adapted Federation principles using their own technology, creating a system that could eventually link with the Galactic Consciousness Network. They've demonstrated harmonic potential. Reyes caught Dr. Sandoval's eye. The plan was working. The insurance policy Dr. Okafor had implemented was exactly what the Corvus data had suggested would force the Federation to reconsider. The Council fell into deep consultation, energies and thoughts flowing between members in ways the humans couldn't comprehend. Finally, the central figure, a being of pure light, addressed them. Humanity has demonstrated unexpected capacity for harmonic integration. While concerns about your developmental trajectory remain, your actions merit reconsideration of containment protocols. Ray stepped forward. What does that mean exactly? The absolute quarantine will be lifted, the luminous being explained. It will be replaced with supervised integration. You will be permitted limited exploration beyond your solar system, with appropriate oversight. That's still a form of containment, Rise argued. It is the same protocol applied to all emerging species, Thale explained quietly, a significant concession from the Federation. The crystalline being's voice resonated again. Be grateful, humans. Few species receive reconsideration so quickly. You have centuries of development ahead before full integration can be considered. As the council session concluded, Reyes and Sandoval were escorted back toward the docking bay where the Prometheus waited. This is a victory, Thale assured them. The collective will continue to advocate for human potential. And now you have a foot in the door of galactic society. It still feels like we're being treated as children, Reyes said. Dr. Sandoval smiled. Children grow up, Commander. And according to everything we've learned, we might grow up faster than anyone expects. As they boarded the Prometheus for the return journey, Reyes looked out at the vast expanse of space now conditionally open to humanity. The quarantine had become an opportunity, a challenge to prove that human unpredictability could be an asset to the galaxy rather than a threat. The containment field would be modified, allowing monitored passage. Earth would have visitors, exchange of limited technology, and the chance to learn about the cosmic community they were cautiously being welcomed to join. Humanity had taken its first true step into a larger universe, not as conquerors or refugees, but as potential partners in a grand galactic civilization. And they had done it in the most human way possible, by refusing to accept limitations placed upon them. As the Prometheus began its journey home, Reyes knew this was just the beginning. The real work of proving humanity's worth to the galaxy, and perhaps more importantly, to themselves, was only just beginning.